Ladies and gentlemen, there is one simple truth that separates those who achieve greatness from those who only dream of it. Action. We are all filled with potential, with dreams and aspirations that could shape the world. But potential remains untapped if we don't act. Every day we face a choice: to wait for the right moment or to force ourselves into action, no matter the circumstances. Procrastination is one of the most insidious barriers to success that we can encounter. It's the enemy that doesn't shout or make itself obvious, but it slowly erodes our potential with every moment we delay. It's a pattern of avoidance, a refusal to engage with the task at hand, and it's often disguised in the most deceptive ways. We think we're simply waiting for the right moment or gathering more information, but in reality, we're merely postponing. And with every delay, we move further away from our goals and aspirations. At the core of procrastination lies fear. Fear of failure, fear of not being good enough, or even fear of success itself. This fear paralyzes us, tricking us into thinking that if we don't act, we won't risk failing. But the truth is, not acting is the most significant form of failure. Procrastination creates a false sense of comfort, where we convince ourselves that the pressure of completing the task is more unbearable than the consequences of never completing it. In the long run, this comfort is nothing more than a mirage that leads to regret and unfulfilled dreams. To overcome procrastination, we must first recognize it for what it is: a habit, not an inherent part of who we are. Habits can be changed. When we realize that procrastination is a learned behavior, it becomes clear that we can unlearn it, but only if we force ourselves to act in spite of it. The key to defeating procrastination is in breaking the cycle of delay. This means taking immediate action, even if it's small, when faced with a task that we'd rather put off. One of the most effective ways to combat procrastination is by breaking down large tasks into smaller, more manageable steps. When faced with a daunting goal, we often become overwhelmed and retreat into avoidance. However, if we reframe the task into smaller, achievable actions, it becomes less intimidating. By setting clear, immediate goals and focusing on one small task at a time, we reduce the pressure and make the task seem less insurmountable. Moreover, setting deadlines, even self-imposed ones, helps to create a sense of urgency. A deadline forces us to confront the task rather than continuing to push it into the future. When we hold ourselves accountable, the chances of procrastination are greatly reduced. Time management techniques like the Pomodoro technique, where we work in focused bursts followed by short breaks, can help maintain momentum and reduce the temptation to procrastinate. Additionally, eliminating distractions is crucial in overcoming procrastination. Our modern world is filled with interruptions, social media, constant notifications, or even the lure of mindless activities. To defeat procrastination, we must create an environment that encourages focus and productivity. This means setting boundaries, turning off notifications, and setting up a workspace that is conducive to deep work. By consciously removing distractions, we can direct our energy toward the tasks that matter, rather than allowing external forces to pull us away. The most important step in overcoming procrastination is understanding that it's not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about deciding to act in the moment, no matter how imperfect the conditions may seem. Procrastination thrives when we wait for inspiration, the perfect time, or the right mood to strike. Instead, we must learn to act even when we don't feel like it, because action fuels momentum, and momentum creates progress. Overcoming procrastination is not about eliminating all distractions or waiting for motivation. It's about forcing ourselves to start, no matter how small the step may be. By embracing the discomfort of action, we begin to break the grip of procrastination, inching closer to the success we seek. Discipline is the bedrock of success. It is the invisible force that transforms ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. Without discipline, dreams remain just that, dreams. It is the ability to push through challenges, maintain consistency, and take action even when the motivation is lacking. Discipline is what separates those who reach their goals from those who fall short. It is the daily practice, the commitment to your craft, and the relentless pursuit of excellence regardless of external circumstances. At its core, discipline is about self-control. It's about making decisions that align with your long-term vision, even when they are difficult or inconvenient in the short term. It's easy to get distracted by immediate gratification, the desire to take the easier path, to give in to fleeting pleasures. But the disciplined individual understands that true success is not born out of momentary satisfaction. It's about making choices that might not bring immediate rewards, but will pay off in the future. Discipline requires saying no to temptations and distractions that take you further away from your goals, and saying yes to the hard work that will bring you closer. One of the keys to embracing discipline is creating a structured routine. Successful individuals don't leave their day to chance. They intentionally plan their time, prioritizing what matters most. By sticking to a routine, we eliminate the need for constant decision-making, which drains our energy and focus. A disciplined routine sets a rhythm that allows us to move steadily forward, even when enthusiasm wanes. It creates a sense of stability and purpose, ensuring that every action taken is purposeful and aligned with our broader objectives. Discipline also requires consistency. It's easy to be motivated for a day, a week, or even a month, but true progress happens over the long haul. Success doesn't come from bursts of effort, but from sustained, incremental progress. This means showing up every single day, regardless of how you feel. The days when you feel like giving up are often the days that matter most, because it is in those moments of resistance that you build the character and resilience necessary for success. One of the most powerful aspects of discipline is its compounding effect. Every small disciplined action you take builds on the previous one. Whether it's a workout, a business decision, or a habit you're cultivating, each step adds up. Over time, these small, consistent actions lead to massive results. Discipline allows you to harness the power of small wins, gradually building momentum that propels you forward toward your larger goals. To embrace discipline, you must also cultivate patience. Results are not immediate, and it's easy to become frustrated when progress seems slow. However, those who embrace discipline understand that the true value lies not in the speed of progress, but in the direction you're heading. Patience is the ability to trust the process, to continue working diligently toward your goals, even when the payoff is not immediately visible. It's about putting in the work today, knowing that the benefits will come tomorrow, or even years down the road. Another essential element of discipline is the ability to hold yourself accountable. Self-discipline is rooted in personal responsibility. When you commit to something, you must be willing to take ownership of your actions and their outcomes. This means holding yourself to the highest standard, even when no one else is watching. It's about taking pride in your work, even when it's hard, and staying true to your promises, whether to yourself or others. Embracing discipline is not easy, but it is the only path to lasting success. It requires persistence, structure, consistency, and self-control. By making discipline a core part of your life, you create the foundation for achieving your dreams, no matter how lofty they may seem. It is discipline that will carry you through the toughest times, keep you focused when distractions arise, and ultimately transform your efforts into lasting achievement. The power of decision is one of the most transformative forces in our lives. Every day we are presented with countless choices, and how we respond to these decisions shapes the course of our lives. Yet too often we find ourselves paralyzed by indecision, unable to commit to a clear path forward. Indecision breeds stagnation, while decisive action is the catalyst for growth and achievement. The ability to make decisions quickly and with confidence is a hallmark of successful individuals, and it is this skill that separates those who succeed from those who falter. At the heart of every major accomplishment is the act of decision. It is a moment of clarity when you commit to a direction, choose a course of action, and align your thoughts and energy with that choice. The power of decision lies in its ability to break through the fog of uncertainty and focus your efforts toward a singular goal. Once a decision is made, it removes ambiguity and provides a clear path forward. The energy that was once spent on overthinking or second-guessing is now directed toward action and progress. Successful individuals understand that decisions do not need to be perfect. They simply need to be made. Perfectionism often holds people back, causing them to endlessly deliberate and delay, afraid of making the wrong choice. But perfection is a myth, and inaction is the real enemy. The moment you make a decision, even if it's not the ideal one, you are moving forward. You are no longer trapped in the cycle of analysis paralysis. You are in motion, and momentum is your ally. In addition to making decisions quickly, the power of decision lies in the ability to stick to them. Too many people make decisions but fail to follow through. They allow doubt to creep in or become distracted by the opinions of others. However, successful people are unwavering in their commitment. Once a decision is made, they do not look back. They trust their judgment and move forward with conviction, adjusting their course only when it becomes clear that a change is necessary. Another powerful aspect of decision-making is that it can unlock the potential within us. When we commit to a choice, we activate our inner drive, resourcefulness, and creativity. The decision to take action spurs us into problem-solving mode. Challenges and obstacles, once perceived as barriers, become opportunities for growth. The simple act of deciding propels us toward solutions, helping us overcome adversity and continue moving forward. Furthermore, making decisions empowers us to take control of our lives. Life is full of external circumstances and forces beyond our control, but we always have the power to decide how we will respond to them. Our decisions define our attitudes, our approach, and the actions we take, regardless of what happens around us. When we embrace this power, we step out of the role of a passive observer and take full ownership of our journey. It is no longer about waiting for the right moment or hoping for the best outcome. It is about choosing to create the life we want. The power of decision also plays a crucial role in overcoming fear and uncertainty. Fear often holds us back from making choices because we are afraid of making a mistake. But the truth is, every decision carries some risk, and mistakes are part of the learning process. When we embrace the power of decision, we free ourselves from the grip of fear. We realize that the cost of inaction is far greater than the cost of making a wrong decision. In fact, a wrong decision made with determination and action often leads to valuable lessons and new opportunities. In essence, the power of decision is not merely about making choices, it's about taking responsibility for those choices and owning the outcomes. It is about realizing that you have the ability to shape your destiny. One decision at a time. The moment you take command of your decisions, you take command of your life. Fear is one of the most powerful and persistent forces that can hold us back from achieving greatness. It is a natural, instinctive response that has evolved to protect us from harm, but in today's world, fear often serves no useful purpose other than to keep us from stepping outside of our comfort zones. Fear has the ability to paralyze us, to make us doubt ourselves, and to prevent us from pursuing the very things that could lead to success. Yet fear itself is rarely as dangerous as our perception of it. In fact, the real danger lies in allowing fear to control it. At the core of fear is a lack of understanding or a distorted perception of the unknown. We fear what we don't understand, and we fear what we think might happen, even when there's no solid evidence to support our worst-case scenarios. It is often in the mind, built on assumptions, exaggerated possibilities, and our personal insecurities. But the moment we confront fear head-on, we realize that most of it is imagined. The truth is that fear thrives in the absence of action. The longer we avoid what we fear, the stronger that fear grows. until it becomes an overwhelming presence that influences every decision we make. Overcoming fear begins with acknowledging it for what it is, a mental and emotional reaction that can be controlled. The first step in overcoming fear is to confront it, not run from it. Fear grows stronger the more we avoid it, but it weakens the moment we face it. When we take action in spite of fear, we break its grip on us. This is why taking the first step, even when it feels intimidating, is crucial. That initial act of courage diminishes the power fear holds over us. It's like a light shining in a dark room. The fear dissipates when we bring it into the open. One of the most effective ways to overcome fear is to change our perspective. Rather than seeing fear as something to be avoided, we can reframe it as a signal that we are about to step into new territory. Fear often arises when we are on the verge of growth, of breaking through to something greater. By viewing fear as a natural part of the process, we can learn to embrace it instead of allowing it to stop us. When fear appears, it's often an indication that we are challenging ourselves and pushing beyond our limits. It's a sign that we are moving towards something important, something transformative. Another powerful way to overcome fear is through preparation. Fear often arises from uncertainty, so when we equip ourselves with knowledge and skills, we reduce the unknown factors that fuel our anxiety. The more we prepare, the more confident we become, and the less power fear has over us. For example, if you fear public speaking, practice and preparation allow you to become familiar with your material, reduce the likelihood of mistakes, and give you the tools to handle unexpected challenges. Preparation instills confidence, and confidence diminishes fear. Additionally, breaking down large, daunting tasks into smaller, manageable steps can also help overcome fear. When we face a huge challenge, fear can overwhelm us because the goal seems too distant or difficult to achieve. But if we break that goal down into smaller, incremental actions, we reduce the perceived threat. Each small step taken builds momentum and confidence, which lessens the grip fear has on our progress. Over time, what once seems impossible becomes achievable, and the fear of failure or inadequacy fades away as we gain more experience and success. Finally, it's essential to understand that fear is a universal experience. Everyone, no matter how successful or accomplished, faces fear. It is not a sign of weakness, but rather an indication that we are human. Successful individuals are not fearless. They are simply able to act in spite of their fear. They have learned that fear is not something to be eliminated, but something to be managed and used as fuel for growth. When we realize that fear is part of the journey, we stop letting it control us and start using it as a stepping stone toward our goals. In the end, overcoming fear is not about eliminating it entirely, but about learning to move forward despite it. Fear will always be present, but it doesn't have to stop us from achieving what we desire. It is only by confronting fear, embracing it as part of the process, and continuing to take action that we can truly overcome its paralyzing grip. The more we face fear head on, the more we realize that it has no real power over us. Fear is simply an illusion that disappears once we take decisive action. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in life and success. It is the unseen engine that propels us forward, turning small efforts into significant accomplishments. Just as a train needs a certain amount of force to start moving, but then continues to build speed once it's in motion, the same principle applies to our personal and professional lives. Once momentum is achieved, it creates a snowball effect where progress becomes self-sustaining. The key to success lies in harnessing this power of momentum and using it to propel ourselves toward our goals. The initial phase of any endeavor is often the hardest. It's easy to be inspired when we set a new goal, but taking the first step can feel overwhelming. The uncertainty, the effort, and the perceived enormity of the task often leave us standing still, unsure of how to begin. However, the magic happens once we decide to take that first step, no matter how small. When we begin to act, we trigger momentum. That small, seemingly insignificant action creates energy, and soon enough, it gathers strength. With each subsequent step, the process becomes easier and our confidence grows. One of the most significant advantages of momentum is that it creates a feedback loop. As we take action, even imperfect action, we start to see results. These results, no matter how minor, build our belief in ourselves and our abilities. The more results we see, the more energized we become to take the next step. We feed off the energy generated by our own progress. This positive feedback loop sustains our drive and motivation, making it easier to keep moving forward. Another key element of momentum is consistency. It's not the grand, sporadic bursts of effort that lead to lasting success, but the regular, consistent actions taken over time. Momentum thrives when we establish a rhythm, when we show up every day, no matter how we feel. Consistency, however small, lays the foundation for growth. Over time, these small, consistent actions compound and lead to exponential results. It is far more effective to take small, consistent steps toward a goal than to wait for the perfect moment to take massive action. The moment you begin, momentum takes over, and it begins to push you forward, sometimes with greater ease than you ever imagined. Momentum also acts as a great motivator. Often, when we are in motion, we don't need to rely on external motivation or inspiration to keep going. The act of moving itself creates energy, and the progress we make keeps us motivated. The inertia of momentum propels us through moments of doubt and hesitation. There will be times when motivation fades, but with momentum on our side, we don't have to wait for motivation to return. We can simply keep moving, trusting that the momentum will carry us even when our enthusiasm wanes. However, one must be careful not to let inertia work against them. When we stop or slow down, it's much harder to restart momentum than it is to maintain it. Like a rolling stone, once we stop, we risk losing all the progress we've made, and it may require even more effort to regain our previous momentum. That's why consistency is key. By making sure we take even the smallest action every day, we ensure that momentum never fully slips away, and we keep ourselves in a forward-moving direction. Momentum is also a crucial element when facing challenges or setbacks. Life is rarely a straight path, and obstacles will inevitably arise. But when we have momentum on our side, we are far more likely to push through these challenges. The energy created by consistent action builds resilience. We learn to view setbacks not as signs of failure, but as temporary detours that won't stop our progress. With momentum, we find the strength to adapt, adjust, and continue on our path. It is important to note that momentum does not always come naturally. It must be intentionally cultivated. Starting a new habit, beginning a project, or pursuing a goal requires intentional, focused effort at the beginning. But once momentum is in motion, it becomes much easier to maintain. The key is to keep going, even when progress feels slow, and trust that the momentum will begin to build over time. The more you commit to action, the more you will see momentum working in your favor. Success is not achieved through mere thoughts, ideas, or intentions. It is created through one simple, undeniable force: action. Action is the currency that buys you progress, the energy that propels you forward, and the vehicle that transforms dreams into reality. Every accomplishment, no matter how small or grand, is the result of consistent and deliberate action. While vision and planning are essential, they are merely the starting point. Without action, these concepts remain intangible, abstract ideas with no concrete results. Too many people remain trapped in the cycle of thinking, planning, and waiting for the right moment. They believe that success will come when the perfect conditions align, when the perfect plan is crafted, or when the perfect opportunity presents itself. But in reality, waiting for the right moment only prolongs the pursuit of success. Success doesn't arrive when everything is perfect. It arises when you take action, regardless of imperfections or uncertainty. It's the act of doing that creates momentum, reveals opportunities, and allows you to make adjustments along the way. Action is what separates the dreamers from the achievers. Ideas are powerful, but they are powerless without execution. No matter how brilliant or revolutionary an idea may be, it means nothing if it's not acted upon. You can have the greatest plans, but if you don't take steps toward executing them, they will remain mere thoughts, unfulfilled and unrealized. The most successful people in the world have one thing in common. They take action. They don't wait for perfect conditions or endless inspiration. They act, and through that action, they find their way to success. The process of action is iterative. The first step is often the hardest, filled with doubts, fears, and uncertainty. But once you take that step, the next one becomes easier. Action creates a feedback loop. Each step you take gives you information, teaches you lessons, and guides you toward the next course of action. The more you do, the more you learn, and the more confident you become. As you gain experience, your actions become more purposeful and refined, and your ability to move forward becomes stronger. Moreover, action is not just about taking any step. It's about taking the right steps. Strategic action, informed by knowledge, passion, and focus, is far more valuable than random or aimless efforts. It's about being intentional in what you do. Success comes to those who not only act, but act with purpose, understanding, and perseverance. Thoughtful, deliberate action enables you to stay on course even when obstacles arise. In addition, action also builds confidence. The more you act, the more evidence you have that you can achieve what you set out to do. It is through taking action that you begin to see the progress you desire. This sense of accomplishment, no matter how small, fuels further action, creating a cycle of growth and success. The more you prove to yourself that you can act and succeed, the more you will take action in the future. Another critical aspect of action is its ability to eliminate doubt. When you hesitate, you allow fear and uncertainty to take over. Inaction leads to self-doubt and a lack of progress, while taking action builds clarity and confidence. When you take action, you confront the unknown, you challenge your fears, and you diminish their power over you. Every action you take helps you understand that failure is not something to fear, but an opportunity to learn. In fact, failure often comes as a result of action, but it is through this process of doing that you refine your approach and grow strong. Ultimately, action is the bridge between potential and achievement. It is easy to have a vision, to make plans, and to dream of success, but success is realized only when you move from thought to action. The most successful individuals are not necessarily the smartest or most talented. They are the ones who take action, adapt as they go, and never give up on their pursuit of their goals. Action is the currency that buys success, and without it, all the ideas, plans, and dreams in the world are meaningless. It is through deliberate, consistent, and purposeful action that you can turn your aspirations into tangible, lasting results. In conclusion, success is not a product of mere intentions or thoughts. It is shaped by our actions, decisions, and discipline. Overcoming fear, building momentum, and consistently taking decisive steps forward are essential to turning dreams into reality. Procrastination and indecision will only hinder progress, but through focused action and the embrace of discipline, we unlock our true potential. The power of decision and the momentum we create keep us moving forward, while fear becomes a stepping stone to growth. By recognizing that action is the true currency of success, we empower ourselves to achieve greatness and make meaningful progress.